Hey, welcome. Today we're going to talk about you are forgiven. You're forgiven. People need to get out of shame, you know. We can't live on shame. Man does not live on shame. Man or woman. My name is Dr. Cheryl Meyer, and I'm a psychologist. And I help people navigate through life, through their... Ah, look. Do you see XX? I got to talk about that. That's what kept coming up this morning. Wow. I never saw that. I've crossed that sidewalk so many times to get over here so we could talk. This is our chat. So I've been a psychologist for over 20 years, and I just have this calling to help people, you know, because not everyone can afford therapy, or they don't all know what it can do for them. So I want to free people's lives best I can by giving freely, you know, these videos and what comes to me. I listen to my intuition, and I teach other people, you, whoever comes to me here, to follow their own intuition and to know that. And intuition just means your inner knowing. Let's sit for a second. I love the sun. It's important that whatever you do, you take some time to be quiet, to be present, to connect. If we are divine and human, you know, if we come from God, then we are soul consciousness in a physical body. And just imagine if you remember that you are part soul, that you are a soul and you have a body. That's how George MacDonald says it. He says, don't teach your kids that they have a soul. Teach them that they are a soul and they have a body. And a guy named I forgot his name. A French guy said the same thing. Desjardins? No, anyway. Said you're God consciousness in a human body. But I say this about forgiveness, all right? If divine love, if God is love, you know, and so many people avoid the church now, I understand, because in the name of God, so many horrific things have been done. And I don't want to bring all those things up right now. I just want to acknowledge that has happened, you know. People, all of us can start with a good intention. And then I could start with a good intention for making these videos a long time ago, and then go into my egotism. And once I have like 1 million followers or whatever, then just it be all about me and making sure to please them and look what they want me to look like and what's going to keep me popular and keep people from leaving or whatever, you know. And so the same thing goes with the first people that knew Christ or were enlightened and saw like Buddha or were around Bob Marley or whatever, and then they're like, hey, I found a way to get my grubby hands on this and make money from this, and instead of being a prophet and speaking the words of wisdom that come. Okay, look, I don't know, I felt like flexing again. I'm just following my intuition. That's okay, what's coming to me from that is that's when you practice daily growing in a true faith in your heart, by ordinary things, by me doing my ordinary exercise for like 45, 50, 30 minutes every day. That's what grew these muscles. This is not from lifting weights. This is from doing power yoga, you know, and it helps get my body in balance. And I shed all this weight from that. So that's coming up. Because so just like someone, you know, if I did that daily exercise and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I have to be a 0 or a -0 or whatever the sizes are underneath that, and I kept going and I became anorexic, that would be my egotism taking over and trying to prove something through that, instead of daily being disciplined. All right, but I want to talk to you about forgiveness. And I was like, and I don't have much time, so guess what I do? Instead of talking faster, enter into the silence. Do what was shown to me, And I'm not saying I'm perfect, so, you know, model after what I model after, not me. I do my best to model after that, but which is divine love, which is, you know, like Eckhart Tolle calls it, the Christ consciousness or the Buddha nature, for me, I understand it like the Christ alive in you. But going back to forgiveness is what was shown to me today, what was revealed to me, like the X on the ground, right? I saw the X and the O, and the O is like returning back to oneness, and the X is die to your egotism, die to this part that wants to control everything, because that part also thinks we're always in lack. And so when we die to that and enter back into the oneness, we experience the oneness of wholeness again, of love. Now, in childhood, our parents are often acting, you know, because they don't have the perfect parent handbook, and, you know, unless they're really enlightened, they didn't have this higher state of consciousness, they didn't know. And so they go into lack and they still feel like they're not measuring up. And instead of seeing that, what we often do is we deflect it on other people. I know this has happened to me. You know, someone thought that the characteristics and qualities that I had of loving with a big heart and opening my heart up were insecurities or neediness, and I'm not saying I was perfect at that, for sure. But anyway, when our parents feel that lack and they start seeing you reflect back to them as a little child, you know, when you act naughty, let's say, you know, they see their own lack, their own failings, their own inability to be intimate, to be close, to be present, you know, they lose it and then they feel bad. And instead of acknowledging that right away, taking that to divine love, saying, God, I'm so sorry, you know, because this is your child, came out of you, came out of love, and I just yelled and lost it and got triggered, and you get brought back into all your trauma of early childhood. So basically, you know, I've talked about that in a lot of my videos. If your parents were traumatized in some way, then, you know, when you do something like ignore their boundaries and walk all over them as a little kid, you know, as like a 7-year-old, not really knowing, or even if you are knowing, you're learning, you know, it can open up to this. There's layers to this, but if you still feel, if you're not connected to divine love, then you still feel that lack, you still feel that hurt, as if your parents are walking all over you or other people are betraying you all over again. So they feel the sting of your slight betrayal as this huge thing, as being stepped on as a child, as re-traumatizing them. And so they react and get triggered, and I'm not excusing any of it at all. But when they do that, they get all mad at you, and you feel shame, and you're so sensitive as a child that you absorb it. And so it's like a familiar, that's family, you know, familiar feeling to feel shame. And so we carry all this shame on us. And so we're so used to that, and we're trying to find ways to get away from that. And so sometimes we go to addictions or any kind of addictions, you know, whether it be chocolate or gossiping or trying to put other people down, or just watching TV nonstop, or, going to anything else that'll make us feel high in the moment takes us out of that shame, because we're not meant to be living in that shame. But what happens is that takes us out temporarily, and then we feel ashamed for dissipating our life, because some part of you knows your soul. You already are a soul, and you have a deep purpose and a meaning for being here. And some part of you knows that. You can always get in touch with that. But when we're so stuck in this shame and we don't have a legitimate way, a healthy way to get out of that, then we go to something to numb us, to bring us a temporary high, because we don't trust that there's another way to get out of that, because we weren't shown that in childhood. So shame has to do with shoulds and shoulding on yourself. And I have a TikTok video or something about that. Look up shoulds, or a 1-minute video on that. It will change your life. It really will. But no, this is what was shown to me is like this, right? You are forgiven, like that. The cross going over you, it's like the X, It's like, if you give all of that to me, if you give everything that you've ever done in an unconscious way that's not loving to someone that was made out of love, that's towards yourself or towards other people, then I was shown, because I was feeling something about some way I was just not listening last night and doing my own thing, when I was told clearly in my heart to do something different, And whether it looks minor or not, it's like, oh, had I yielded, this is like in one of the Narnia books. Lucy said, oh, I could have followed you by myself then, even if my brothers and my sister didn't follow. And Aslan was like, yeah, you could have. And she's like, oh, and everything would have gone so different. And this wouldn't have happened. And this person wouldn't have died, or whatever, It's like, he's like, I don't tell you what would have been. Aslan says that. But you know now what can be, follow me now. Follow the good, follow the highest love, always. Because who am I? I don't want to rob any kind of love from anybody, And I know you don't either, or you wouldn't be watching this. Trust that. And so he showed me, divine love is beyond he and she, divine love showed me, like, I will take that material, everything that you've done, and I can make it into gold. I can and make it into alchemy. I can transmute that. Oh, there's a little dog that got away. I'll catch it if it comes this way. Oh, she's got it. It's a very elderly lady. So anyway. Aw, see, the dog just got away from the leash. It's just like that, you guys. Just see it like that. Look at what God showed us. Look. I don't know if you see those two dogs over there. One just got away. You're like the sheep that got away. The Sufi poet says, leave your house every day. Like, be a lantern, be a ladder, be a shepherd. Every day. That's it. That's all it is love is calling you back. Like the sheep that's just, like the dog that got away. Not that you're meant to be on a leash, but that divine love directs us back to love. And it can take all of the material of everything we've done poorly and wrongly, and it's like it puts it in a trash compactor and turns it into pure gold. It can use it for good to love other people. So just let it go, so that you stop trying to escape from your shame in other ways. Let it go, because you're worth more than that. You're worth more than that. You can just feel forgiven, feel loved. You took on this shame because you were taking on your parents' bad. It's not yours to take on. You're always meant to be loved, to feel the sun on your face. Sunlight on my face. I see the dust cloud disappear without a trace. All right, I wish you so much love. Thanks for being here.